Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane this morning in Edinburgh. You can text the show on 81215, you can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
I think Emily Dean has been reading some kind of weird status, like how to get on at work manual type thing, because she's put her stool at the highest possible setting.
You are.
FYI, I don't need to read any manual.
You are very high. You look like a meeting point.
I mean, I'm a fairly tall figure of a man, but she's towering over me.
I've put it on my chair on the Stephen Merchant setting.
Yes.
And I'm happy with it.
I hope it
Good, I want to put mine
sometimes they suddenly drop those chairs. If you accidentally catch the lever with a stiletto heel.
It all suddenly drops, darling.
I don't know about suddenly. It hasn't been an avalanche. Surely it's been more like subsidence. Still looking great, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to tell from that height.
I've got my binoculars with me, if you want. We've actually had an email, Frank, that I
don't say it like that, we never get any emails.
But I mean, like, straight off the blocks, I thought I'd chuck it at you to see if we can get interaction
Cleopatra coming at you.
Yeah, exactly. Dear Mr. Radio, Divine Miss M and Lecoq, deletion of introductory praise for hilarity of show. Just thought I would share my excitement at having snapped up some tickets to come and see Frank in Belfast in December. It is going to be great! Exclamation mark.
Is that a quote from the poster?
No, that's what she's telling you.
I like her confidence.
Yeah, me too. I noticed that Frank will be coming from Dublin the night before and was wondering if he might be interested in participating in some cross-border smuggling action. Perhaps a lesser-known fact, but Cadbury's chocolate in the south is far superior to that commonly stocked in Northern Ireland.
Is it?
If Frank was willing, I would make the purchasing and carrying of a few bars of Cadbury's Golden Crisp, a variety not even stocked this side of the border, worth his while. I'm thinking in exchange for a homemade cloak, some non-alcoholic wine, or a new book for Buzz. Awaiting your reply, in which we can iron out the details of our arrangement. In either case, very much looking forward to the show. Best regards, Lizzie Scott, 775.
I love
the thing
it
is with Lizzie Scott is that she needs to get her head around the fact that smuggling is generally an undercover activity, not discussed in the public forum with full names.
Good point. Good point.
So I think what she's done is she should have contacted me privately. Maybe one of those IMD messages.
Oh, yeah.
You know those IMD messages?
Oh, yeah.
Is it IM?
I don't know what it is.
I think she would need your phone number or email.
Some letters. There are letters involved also, I remember.
Send him a letter. Is that what you're saying?
What about WhatsApp? You love WhatsApp, don't you?
Or send me one of those mesalgrams. Send me one of those.
Oh, yeah.
You know those mesal... It's congratulatory. Mazelgram. Yeah, send me one of those. Mazel text.
I hope
I like
not
a
high,
muzzle
Lizzie.
text.
But good try.
Frank, can I get something off my chest?
Well, you're all right. We don't have webcam here.
I was in my hotel this morning.
Yes.
With my John. I decided to order.
You brought your travel, John?
I decided to order a cup of coffee.
Okay.
So I rung downstairs.
Do they not have tea and coffee making facilities?
They do, but I'd like someone to bring it.
She likes other people to make it
so
for
I said,
her.
It was the other side of the room.
I said, excuse me. Yeah, but he was sleeping.
Yeah.
I said, excuse me, I'd like to order one decaf cappuccino, please. He said, I'm sorry, madam. At this time, only available bacon sandwich, tea and coffee. I said, yeah, I'd like to order a cappuccino. He said, no, only bacon sandwich, tea and coffee. I said, a cappuccino is a coffee. He went, oh. Who works in a hotel and doesn't know that a cappuccino is a coffee?
Well, at that point, did you continue with your order?
I said, well, it is a coffee. And he went, oh. And then he was silent. And then I said, so can you sort this out for me? He goes, I will speak to the manager, see what we can do.
And did you get it?
Oh, did I ever?
Well, see, I respect you for that, because once he said he didn't know a cappuccino was a coffee, I think I'd have lost heart.
Yeah, I don't want that cappuccino.
But it's great that it went to the highest level.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, I'd like to run something by you.
Sure.
We're at the Edinburgh Festival, many of our readers will know.
Mm-hmm.
And the Edinburgh Festival is, of course, it's one of the world's great art festivals, but lots of people say to me, what's it like? What's it like to be a comic up there? I have a story, something that happened this week, which I think sums up the odd world one finds oneself in. I think people go through some strange stages when you're doing your 3.5 weeks of gigs every night.
Oh, yeah.
No nights off. 8:45, George Square Theatre. Don't bother, it's sold out.
Oh, God.
Anyway, I had... now, here's the thing that happened to me. My sister-in-law, who I love very much, sent me a lovely photo, which she entitled Proud Boz.
Oh, yeah.
Boz is the name of my son, many of you will know. And it was a picture of him standing in the street. He's 2, standing in the street, looking up at a poster of me in shock and awe. And I looked. It's a lovely picture. And I thought, oh, that's a beautiful picture. And then I noticed on the poster there were, they did this thing where people stick on reviews or stars. They stick on for how many stars.
Yeah.
So there was a load of these stuck in the corner of the poster, all 4-star reviews. So I sent a text to my manager immediately when I received this photo, and I'm going to read it to you.
Go on.
Why are you putting 4-star review stickers on my posters? I don't need to pay people to make me look mediocre.
You tell me this is a made-up text. You didn't really send this.
I thought you agreed with me that 4-star reviews equal failure. That was it. That was my text.
Can I say I like the use of "I thought you agreed with me"?
Yeah.
That's quite a female thing to do.
That's like black belt level passive aggressiveness, isn't it?
Did you get a reply?
Not by text. I got one the next day.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Saying it wasn't us, it was the venue.
No.
I don't believe that. Can I tell you what I like with you is that with your texts, there's no ramp into the anger. It's not, listen, I wanted to talk to you, mate, about something.
Well, the text is such a brief thing. I like to hit the ground running.
Yes.
And I was absolutely furious by Proud Boss.
That's nice.
It's made me go absolutely through the ceiling. I did say... I did send another one saying, really all they're advertising is the fact that I haven't had any 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this now.
You weren't done in just one text. That's great. It was a volley.
No, well, because I thought that was a good point that I hadn't thought of at the time, so I sent that as an addendum.
I hope you included the picture of Boz, so you were ranting
I sent
over a photograph of a
because
child.
Because at first he disputed that there were any stars up on the stickers.
Don't tell me you sent evidence.
So I had to send a photograph of my child to prove quite a cynical business point. Yes.
So did he have to send back... cute picture, but
I'm not sure my manager has ever said cute in his life.
Did he send back lols, however?
No, he definitely didn't do that.
See, my family cut this whole thing out. I know for a fact that in my wife's phone there is a poster of me in a similar thing, but with my son in front of it, holding his hand up like an L in front of my forehead next to the picture.
Oh, really?
Yes, basically saying I'm a loser.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
He looked at me and thought, actually, he's a bit old, he probably won't get it. I really resent that. Did I hear a woman apologise to me because she said, sorry, I thought I ought to say apologies because my dog pees on your poster every morning outside my flat.
Ah.
Can you believe it? I invoiced her.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I had a text in from 390 about 4-star gate.
Oh, yeah.
4.5 stars, I should say, would have at least shown the reviewer had considered the rating. 4 just gives it all an air of being slipshod.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What, the show or the review?
The review.
No, I think the review.
Let's face it, I've had a 4-star career.
Thanks.
It's been good but not very good. But I'm hanging on, as Sylvester Stallone said. This was where it put me after. And also I did a crossword with my mother-in-law,
Oh, yeah. How was that?
It was...
Times have changed a bit for you post-gig, haven't they?
Yeah.
The last 10 years.
Yeah, that was well, they certainly have changed. One young woman approached me after the show the other night, and as many have in previous years rather, and she said, "I've got something that you might like," and it was a tense moment. She gave me a 1960s Buffalo Bill annual.
Oh,
fantastic!
sweet,
well, that's not what we used to exchange in the old days. But I was very pleased, thrilled even with it. It's better. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Right.
Yeah,
Thrilled.
I was thrilled. Anyway, I was doing a crossword. This was after 4 Stargate, so I was still reeling.
Yeah.
Is 4 Stargate what we're going to call it? Because it sounds like season 4 of Stargate television sci-fi thing.
You know Frank's love of an American TV series.
So, so we were doing... I was reeling, but we are in Edinburgh. So, she said, OK, the clue is common term for very funny. And it was 7 letters beginning with K.
Oh.
Any idea? Well, I don't think we do enough radio crosswords on Absolute Radio.
Just out of interest, how long will we give it ruminating time?
No, I don't. I think we have to move on. I'd love to
common
drag
term
it
for
out.
very funny.
Anyway, she said, "Oh, well, that's killing, isn't it? Very funny, killing." And I thought, I've never heard that. And it worries me that there's a common term for very funny that I've never heard in 27 years as a comedian.
It's quite an American sort of stand-up thing to say, "I was killing tonight, man."
Is that what it means?
Is that what they say? Did they say you killed it?
Does that mean...
I thought that meant something very different.
That Batman comic, and indeed that band, The Killing Joke, then.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what that means?
I think it must be, but I wouldn't use that as a common term. I would think that's a less common, like an industry term almost, or a transatlantic term for very funny.
There's a new one on me.
Strange clue.
We're discussing crosswords with your mother-in-law on Absolute Radio this morning.
Crosswords with your mother-in-law must be a play by Alan Bennett.
It sounds like one of the gentler chapters in your autobiography.
Exactly. But yeah, it was a revelatory. I've never heard that before. I took part in a sort of revelatory moment last night.
Did you?
I was doing a gig, and there was a couple sitting in the front row, and I noticed they had a drink underneath them on the floor that had got 2 straws in it.
Oh.
And I said, "Are you sharing a drink?" And they said, "Oh yeah, we've got a pint of cider, and we've got 2 straws in it." They were local people.
He seems a nice boyfriend.
And I said, "Well, how does it?" I said, "You put it on the floor like that." I said, "Do you drink it simultaneously?" They said, No, we would just drink it when we get thirsty." But I said, "Well, why? How do you remember?" Because they were both black straws. I said, how do you remember whose straw is which?" And they said, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter to us."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, why not just have 1 straw?" And they both looked like I'd torn down the very fabric of their relationship. It was like one of those... God, it's like they were outraged at one level that they couldn't... And then they thought, yes, why don't we? I really felt like I'd opened their eyes.
People are strange, aren't they?
People come to my gigs just to touch the hem of my garment.
A man came up to me after my gig, and I would have sworn he had not enjoyed my show, and he said, "That was really good tonight, Alan. I was sat right at the front, and you teased my mate a little bit, so I was trying my best not to laugh all the way through it."
Oh,
and
that's what we want.
That's
he'd
no
been
good to anyone.
deliberately not laughing. It's like going for a meal in a restaurant and thinking, "I'm not going to say at any point." It's a really odd instinct, I think.
Well, a couple stopped me as I left the theatre the other night and said, "Excuse me, look, I don't want to cause a problem, but we brought our 10-year-old daughter tonight, and we were told it was PG, and there was a lot of material, and it was completely unsuitable for a 10-year-old girl." I said, "I'm sorry," but they said, "Yeah, we know, but it is upsetting. It's very embarrassing." I said, "I can see that," and they said, "Yeah." Anyway, could we have a photo?
Wow.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So yes, that's been a strange week. Do you have any methods, Alan? I don't want to give you a hospital pass here, but do you have any? Those nights when you just think, I don't know if I'm funny, really. Do you have any tapes, self-motivation tapes, let's say? you are the funniest man on the planet. and
Oh,
stuff
that'd
like
be
that.
good. I should really record. Would it be better if I said it to myself or record you saying that and then me just
I'll
listen
do
to
that.
it?
Well, maybe we
over
could do
and
each
over
other.
again? Yeah,
No,
that'd
you
work.
need to do. I've told you about that very well-known comic who speaks to Paul McKenna
Oh, yeah.
pre-show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he
but-
rings him up. I won't name him, obviously.
It's more of a preparing for a corporate gig, isn't it? That feels like.
No, he does it for everything.
Okay.
He rings him up and
Wow.
says, "You're amazing, you're fantastic, you're incredible, you can do this, you know you can."
Okay.
And then he goes to the bathroom for a long period of time,
Okay.
after a couple of espressos, and then he's on.
Wow.
Right.
I've got a different routine where I've been stretching my shoulder, which has been getting a bit stiff during this month, and I've been writing like a little list, almost habitually. I've got a bag full of bits of paper of the exact same list of sort of the show content, and then I go on. It's not very rock and roll, is it?
No.
Just a piece of paper with the same words on it again and again every night.
I'll tell you what I have done in the past,
Yeah.
and I can't remember the bloke's name now, but I think about the man who wrote the One Show theme.
Yeah.
You know the One Show theme is one, da-da-da-da,
Yeah.
one, da-da-da-da,
Mhm.
one. I always think when he went into the meeting, after he'd been commissioned, when he went in to play it to the BBC people, I think that is when the confidence that he showed to be able to sit there and say, "Here it is, guys. One, da-da-da-da, one," and him look. I bet he stared at them hard, unflinchingly.
Yeah.
I bet he really thought, brazened it out. One, to the point where they couldn't say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
and if
couldn't lose faith.
Yeah, one, and he still got away with it, and to the point where they said, "Okay, we'll actually have that as the theme tune as one of our sort of flagship shows." That's the sort of confidence you need to go into a comedy gig with.
And
I
let's
think.
face it, who's laughing now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ka-ching.
Well, I'd say about 30% of them.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text about that couple that were sharing the
Yeah.
cider, but I think it slightly misunderstands your story. 096 has texted, Frank, cider couple were sharing.
Yeah.
With just one straw they couldn't share, they would have to take turns.
No, but they were taking turns. This
Yeah.
was the whole... You see, people, they don't listen.
Thanks for
Joining
us.
in, yeah, thanks for joining in.
Arthur Northerner, he's saying.
Arthur, yeah.
Arthur Northerner, he's calling
Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
Arthur Sentence, that's what he hears. But thanks, Arthur. I do appreciate you sending it in, but you just misunderstood. Good man.
If you'd like to have Frank shoot down the logic of your text, it's 8, 12, 15.
Or,
Thanks
or
very
just
much.
have my life. We took a photo earlier. Well, Charlie, who works on the show, took a photograph
Of us sitting around.
Yes.
Yes.
pre-show.
We were getting in the zone, weren't we? We were getting in the zone. That's
Well,
what
we've
we
had
do.
quite a few comments passed on this photograph.
Okay.
3 of us on sofas.
It's been tweeted on at Frank on the radio.
Yes.
If you could give a
Richie Blue Eyes.
hoot.
Richie Blue Eyes
Yeah.
says, "Good morning. Looks a bit doctor's waiting room."
Okay.
He
It does
gave a hoot.
Yeah.
I love give a hoot. Arwin Thomas. This is the front cover of Definitely Maybe 20 Years On.
Also good.
Simon Matthews. Alan is Steve Marriott of the Small Faces.
I'll take that.
He is a bit, but he's got that bit of mod things. A lot of the young
Well, actually, I've got
the
rid of
young
the mod.
comics, the slightly older young comics have got, if you know what I mean.
But I haven't. I've had it cut. I had an Edinburgh haircut.
I know, but you like a button-down collar.
Do you know what? I had a very Edinburgh
Yeah, you
Festival
do.
thing where I went for a haircut, and it was after I'd got my show up and running, and I was happy with it, and I had this moment of thinking, this is going to affect the show, is it? Like Samson.
Do you want to hear the final review of our
I
photograph?
would love to.
Dev says, "Looks like the break-up meeting of ABBA."
That's very good indeed. Deb is a funny person. That is good.
4 stars.
Yeah. No, I think that's 5 stars. If it was 4 stars, I wouldn't have mentioned it. No, that's funny. Yeah, it's. I don't think we have enough caption competitions on the radio.
No, crosswords and caption competitions.
Yeah,
What's happened to this
more
show?
lookalikes as well, that's what we need.
I think we might win a visual award at this year's radio show.
Will there be one? We've won everything else. Best speech, best
We
message.
won't win again.
We've won everything else. Not quite true. Oh, laugh. Now, come on.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, I think we may owe you a little apology occasionally in the three-way conversations whilst we're also looking at text messages and stuff like that. The odd joke just hits the ground, doesn't it, in the company of the people that...
Some of them do fall on stony ground.
Yeah, we've had a
It's
text...
happened to me a couple of times. I'm not being funny, but it has.
Moi aussi.
If you're not being funny, don't worry about it.
096, Graham the chauffeur has texted, "Morning Frank, thought the reeling joke earlier deserved more of a laugh than it received."
Thank you, Graham, for spotting that. I appreciate it.
I don't think I spotted it.
Oh, my people. It's because it's Scotland and reels.
Are my people?
Scotland and
Reels.
Yeah.
You know the
the reel.
dance a reel?
Oh,
No.
no, I got
You
it.
are Scottish.
I am Scottish.
You don't know what a
You didn't
reel
need the
is?
question mark on there.
You know, it's a Scottish dance.
What do you mean, like a jig?
Well, no, it's like one of those communal ones. A man shouts, and now take your partners to the left and all that. A reel. You know, when you dance a reel.
Didn't you ever watch the Hogmanay show?
I don't think shouting reel at me is helping.
I know what it
It
is.
works when I'm abroad.
I'm really
You
confused.
just shout what you want, louder and louder. Yeah, you didn't watch the White Heather Club?
Oh.
Do you mean like, we're going to just come in from the ALR scale?
I know that one.
Yeah, well, but real, it's a great night out, a reel. I went to a party at Skibo Castle and they had reels.
Is it like a Ceilidh? Is that what you're suggesting?
It's a
Stop
particular
saying
dance.
is it like,
Yeah.
it just is a reel.
Stop saying is it like.
That's not
and then-
helping though.
And then
Just
you're
shouting at me with the same
like.
word.
It's like you know a barn dance when they square dancing when
So
a man
you've
says
just done it now.
Take
It's
your,
like.
no, but I'm actually
going
saying
down to your
something
level.
that it is like.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
completely.
know about a barn dance,
I'm
yeah.
not anti-simile, but if it's a random simile, it's not helpful. It's a barn dance. You get a man call instructions to people, and you dance in a line, and then
Yeah.
two people dance in the middle and cross arms and go out like that. It's like that, but it's Scottish.
I've
Okay,
done it.
Got you.
But you are Scottish.
Yes, but I left at 7 before my socialising in the
you
real
might-
community would have began, I think.
What, on your own?
You could reel. I think you could reel at 7, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I'm appalled. The Guardian.
4 stars.
2 stars. I got 5 in the Mirror on Monday, which cheered me up.
Did you?
Thought you weren't interested in him.
I didn't say I wasn't interested.
You know when you
dear.
get 5 in the Mirror, do they do like, I believe Paul Ross used to have this film reviews, Frank, 5 bottles of beer, if he
No,
liked a movie.
I don't do that. What I did, I looked up from the newspaper to My Small Family, and my way of telling them was by going, I'm starting with the 5 in the Mirror. Nobody got it. Nobody got it. Nobody got it. The Guardian.
I
2
don't,
stars.
I don't even know anything about my press. I've been walking
Well, I'll
past...
tell you, it's been appalling.
Oh, don't do that.
Shall I tell you what it's
You
like?
meanie.
Shall I tell you what it's a bit like?
What's it a bit like?
It's a bit like barn dance.
I've been walking past the board that contains the press outside the venue that I'm in. If I'm going to another venue, I walk past it
Can I
with my
say-
hand up like that, like a blinker.
Do you?
Yeah.
I only did that with a magpie.
Like Woody Allen when they show
I only do
clips
that.
of his footage of films and he just turns his back to it. And says, "I
It's
don't
like
wanna
me with
watch
an
this."
ex.
Really?
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's like me with an ex. I don't
You
want to
just
hear
blank them.
anything.
Well,
I
most
don't
of
wanna know
Woody
anything.
Allen's films aren't me with an X, as far as he's concerned. Yeah, it's interesting the things that embarrass and don't embarrass Woody Allen.
Yes. We've had a text 641.
Don't text those in.
Frank, I've just done that crossword 10 minutes ago and had a big discussion with husband about the killing answer. We didn't get it either.
Well, what
you
about that, eh? As a friend of mine used to say, it's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it.
Yeah, I like.
No, but that
I like
is-
Hoover it as well.
I don't
People say
get the
that.
I don't get the killing thing.
No.
No.
Anyone's just tuned in now, they're going to think, what kind of a debate is this? I don't get the killing thing. Oh, I don't know, I don't mind. I can see where they're coming from, those people.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Please.
Nice bit of...
Should have a please on it, that note.
It should
Just
really,
tell people what to do, like that.
Slightly exposed the mechanics that you were reading it off a note there.
Single file.
I think people probably guessed.
Remember that in the corridor, single file, you had to walk
Yes.
single file.
Yeah.
I just had a terrible guilt thing. There used to be a fat kid we used to shout that at
Did
in the
you?
corridor.
Single file. Oh, I see.
Children
It's
are
like when
so...
I bought deodorant for the smelly girl as a Christmas present.
Children are so cruel, aren't they?
No, I was
Yeah.
about 32 at the time.
Fair enough.
I have an email for your perusal here. Hi, Frank, M and Al. Abbreviated. Interesting. After last week's discussion on Kellie Maloney, Kellie has since entered the celebrity Big Brother house.
Oh,
For
yeah.
any new readers who are not familiar, Kellie
Yeah.
Maloney used to be Frank Maloney, the boxing manager
Yeah.
and promoter.
Now Kelly.
No a lady.
And they've put celebrity in inverted commas here. Celebrity Big Brother house, brackets, aka the meeting place for the stars of other reality TV shows.
It's a little bit of a
Zing.
bit of a critic.
Zing to
Only,
the celeb
only 4
booker.
stars.
Yeah.
As you may
I don't think
remember,
there's 4 stars in there.
as you may remember, Frank mentioned that the name Kelly could be inspired by Lorraine Kelly.
This is
Sure enough.
Frank Skinner, not Frank Maloney.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
Can we say, just in case you didn't
Can
hear
that
it
be your
last
next
week-
autobiography title? Frank Skinner, not Frank Maloney.
Yeah. Well, his could be not Frank Maloney.
Very good.
We were talking about Frank Maloney's
Transformation.
transformation in an extremely positive thing. I was saying
Yeah.
that he looks great. And
Yeah.
he looks like Lorraine Kelly, that was my point.
Absolutely brilliant.
And I wondered if he deliberately modelled himself on Lorraine Kelly.
Well, sure enough, as Kelly entered the house, one of the Kellie Maloney fun facts read out by the Big Brother man was that the 2 people she would most like to meet are George Best and Lorraine Kelly. Do we need any further evidence?
Yes.
But this is what strikes me.
That's-
If I heard of a woman who'd had the change and then modelled herself on me, I would be massively flattered
Yeah.
by that. How do you think Lorraine Kelly's taken the
The
homage?
news.
I'm not sure, but I would say this: it's going to be significantly easier to meet Lorraine Kelly than George Best. That's
Well, yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone went into Big Brother house saying I want to meet George Best, they'd be on suicide watch day 1, as far as I'm concerned.
that is.
Well, some of them are already, but that's
Well,
another story.
It's
Kelly's, can I give you updates? I'm sure you two are gigging and haven't been able to watch Celebrity Big Brother.
I haven't seen it. it's
I've
true.
watched some of it.
Uh-huh.
Kelly, I'm going to call her Afka, artist formerly known as Frank.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is doing rather well, very dignified.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Compared to, I mean, it's all reality stars. It is, and I hate the reality stars going in.
Yeah.
It's like when there's the old couple on Blind Date.
I hate reality.
Uh-huh.
But you don't,
4
part
stars, Sunday time.
Frank, part of the fun of it is to see them. It's the gimmick, isn't it? Seeing them making a stir fry and
Yeah,
getting up
yeah.
in the morning. But you see them doing that all the time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do.
And they all say when they do their videos, all the Towie people, they say, well, I don't suffer fools gladly, and I speak my mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
They do. Everyone says that when they go in. Thing is with me,
Yeah,
I tell you what I'm like. No, you don't know what you're like.
that's
If
why
you
you're
knew
on
what
this.
you were like, you would meet George Best.
there's a porn star, Frenchie. She got booed because she had a good figure.
Yeah.
Can I tell you? Well, that's basically why they boo her. Oh dear, she's got a good figure and she's pretty. Can I tell you who you'd love, Frank? Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
Yeah, what's his story?
Oh, is Gary Busey from the Buddy Holly story?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Wow,
it's that guy.
Gary Busey is in.
There is a star in there.
He is like you in some way because he totally throws the social contract out the window. He walks in all as reality stars pretending they say, oh, you know my brother? No, I don't. I don't know him.
Right, that's not like the sound of it.
You'd love him.
I think I've heard about Gary Busey before. He's a bit of a loose cannon.
Oh, he
Oh,
is.
have you?
He was great as Buddy Holly, though.
Audley Harrison. My name's Audley. Audie? Arlie? Argy?
Just you know why. Okay.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
What about when the porn star introduced herself to Gary Busey?
Go on.
And she said, hi, you, we know each other. And he, no, we don't. I don't know you.
I like it.
He's like you, Frank.
No, I can imagine why a man might deny knowing her on her.
Yeah.
Can I ask on the back to Kellie Maloney?
Mm-hmm.
Kellie Maloney. What is the sort of, what percentage would you say on the transgender thing?
I've got a tension about this question already.
How many men? How many men become women and women become men? Is it mainly
Spice
men?
Girl song.
Is it mainly men? Yeah, that would be
That's a funny B-side.
If they came back sort of slightly done up. If they went with that, what's his name? Rick Rubin did a Spice Girls album with them in black and white photos standing in a field. That'd be one of their how many men become women, how many women become men. How many men become women? How many girls become men? That's how it went up. No, but is it usually men becoming women? Is that the high percent? If anyone knows, text it in. It's
I'm
great
assuming
texting.
so, but I don't know what I'm basing that assumption on.
No, because you hear mainly about men becoming women, but it's a two-way.
Yeah.
I think that's because I don't know, that seems like crossing to the sunny side of the street to become a
But if you're
lady.
going to do it like Kelly.
Yeah.
Is the T-shirt I had printed this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, but I don't want to go on about it. I'm becoming something of an obsessive fan. But the look is all right. The clothes are right. The hair's right. The makeup's right. Don't go overboard. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
No, well, I would have put money against it, but now he's done it a treat. What I would say, there isn't any chance, is there here? And I don't want to be cynical. He didn't do it just to get on Celebrity Big Brother, did he? He's going to change back after.
You do sound a bit cynical.
You change back? I don't know if you can.
I don't know if there's
I mean, they've
back.
got, there's formaldehyde.
Do you sound a bit cynical and like an old man watching the telly?
No, but there is no, that couldn't be, could it? Because people are, nowadays, they'll do anything to get on.
Yes, they will. That's true.
But I can't think of anything. Well,
They'll do ice buckets.
I can think of things that would upset me more. 4 stars, The Independent. But I really hope that isn't what's happened. That'd be... It's a sort of strange, twisted version of the witness protection programme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other celebrities that will literally jump through hoops to get on telly now. I'm not just talking about Tumble. Although that does seem like that is what that is, isn't it? Have you seen
I thought
Tumble?
you were on about Pudsey. I haven't seen Tumble. Is it good?
It's all right. It's
What do they do then? Forward rolls?
yeah, it's gymnastics on the telly.
Well,
Quite hard.
they get drunk and then they have to walk home on their own.
But Judy Murray is apparently joining the.
Don't you ever mention her in that kind of throwaway term.
Old Ma Murray, as you like to give her
but
her
I
full
love Judy
handle.
Murray.
And
You do?
and she's joining the celebs on Strictly Come Dancing.
Well, I look forward to that.
This is
I
a big
must say.
Martine McCutcheon moment.
I
For
mean,
It is-
she's
it
one
is
of
a
the
big moment for
pioneers of the Yummy Mummy movement.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Is she? Oh.
She's a Yummy Murray.
Yummy Murray.
I'm not sure she is.
I would.
She's going to be competitive, Frank.
I
of
hope
course
she.
it is.
If she wins, imagine her climbing over the audience in an elaborate ball gown to kiss Andy Murray in the back row.
Or perhaps to kiss somebody else and forget Andy like he did to her.
Yes, yes. But I tell you, who she won't be kissing. The girlfriend.
No. Oh, no.
She'll be accidentally put a heel straight through her earlobe. Get it caught and has to drag it. Ah! Kim's ears going, Kim's ears?
Kim's ears.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, weird.
So sorry.
weird, strange coincidence.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
You know, you were talking about your little crossword earlier.
Yes.
641 has tweeted us. Never mind killing. Did you get layette? Answer for a set of baby things. I swear they find words no one has even heard of to put in that crossword. So you were doing the same crossword as 641?
Yes. Yes. My mother-in-law got it.
Did she?
Layette.
Oh.
I haven't had a layette for many years. So, you know, I just get a Buffalo Bill annual now if I'm lucky.
Hey, comedy's changed, hasn't it? Now you're saying, my mother-in-law, she got the answer to the crossword. It's actually quite positive nowadays, isn't it?
I was doing a crossword with my mother-in-law.
Wonderful woman.
I said, set of baby things. 8 letters. And sorry, carry on.
Well, I was just going to say, on the subject of Kate Bush, did you see that this week she said that she didn't want people to film her gigs on their iPads or phones,
Oh, yes, she
or
did say
take
that.
photographs?
Yeah.
And I think there was a little bit of a response of like, oh, moody, bit narky, but I think she sort of has a point. She probably hasn't toured or done much live stuff since the advent of everybody having a camera.
No, hold on. She hasn't. When she
Exactly.
last toured, there wasn't an internet.
Exactly. So
It's true.
And it's
So it's barely a
extremely-
camera.
It's extremely distracting, even if you are a bit more used to it, like you know, you and I would be now at the end of a month. But I was doing my stand-up set the other night, and a woman who I think was in her 40s
Absolutely disgusting.
spent a long time in the second row just filming on her iPhone, to the point where I kind of went, I'm really sorry, but could you not film it? And then it's like a speed bump to the gig, isn't it? It immediately
It is.
makes you look like a slightly schoolmasterly
Well, then don't wear those
stick in the mud.
gold Lurex hot pants.
I had a mortarboard as well, so that I had the full.
I had a bloke in who had one of those. He had a camera. You know those ones actually on a stand
Yes,
No.
I've seen those.
with like a piece of black cloth that goes.
Oh
over.
yeah,
And you
Box
hold,
brownie.
and you hold up. He held up like a little hod, a small hod with powder on there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
exploded again. I'm getting a very old crowd in.
He's a long-term fan.
Was he
Yeah.
insisting that you pull a very stern expression and didn't smile?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I found this false moustache irritating in
He's,
the extreme, but he insisted.
He's been a fan since your merchandise was the Frank Skinner 2-reeler.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know all about reels.
Yeah, I do know about the reeling, yeah.
What about Judy? We were talking about Judy. Oh, Judy, you know I love you.
Do you know
Cary
who else
Grant's
is on it?
born in the slums of Bristol.
That's what your dad used to say.
My dad always
That was his favourite line, Frank's dad.
I feel like Judy Murray might be in there partly because they know that she will get headlines because the tabloids can affix...
Oh, she'll get headlines.
Yeah, but she'll get tennis-related headlines,
Yes.
like Judy Murray aces it, and we've got a
Yes.
juicy story for you, and they'll spell it D-E-U.
She'd be
you know,
wearing
juicy.
nets one week.
Yeah, she will.
Definitely,
Oh,
yeah.
definitely. Nets.
Well, I saw a publicity photo. Did you see it? And it's
Yeah.
going to serve with one of those. You know those paddles they hold up the judges with the numbers.
Oh,
on?
right.
Going to serve with one of those. And I
Yeah.
thought to myself, I know, even though that's the publicity picture, that one of the judges one week will do that when she's on.
Totally.
And we'll get a really big laugh, and I'll be sitting at home thinking, why do I even bother? That was what I thought about the publicity picture.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You know the photograph that was taken of the three of us earlier, which has been put online. I put up online.
Back
I
to the
believe.
caption competition.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We've had a tweet from A. Smith, who says it looks like
What, from their forge?
Yes. It looks like a marriage guidance session. M on her mobile, Alan more interested in his mag, and Frank trying to mediate.
Alan Moore, famous comic writer.
Yeah.
Well, I've done a few relationship counselling things, and I'll tell you what. When I first went, what startled me, it was a very bare room. It was like 3 chairs,
Yeah.
coffee table, and nothing. But on the table there was a box of tissues,
Oh.
anticipating tears.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't that funny, as it turned out. 4 stars, relate.
And you didn't sit looking at an Oasis article in Q magazine like I am in that picture.
Is that what? Oh yeah, God, he's drawn in. I tell you, it's the mob
It
thing.
was so cold to me.
Another thing about the whole celeb Strictly Come Dancing thing is that Brucey has apparently said that one of the reasons that he's given up is that the stairs on the set were bad for his health, and he was going up and down them 40 times.
Yes.
40 times a live show, which seems
Really?
unfair
Yeah.
for a man in his 80s. Given the budget on that television programme,
He said-
surely they could have put a Stanner Stairmaster in, and he could have gone up and down it.
It would have taken too
Oh,
long.
that would have taken.
They-
On live telly, imagine having to wait
They
for
could have
that.
got a
What
really
would they have
fast one, it
done?
would have been great.
Well, they could have done like a musical number, as Russell Grant would call it.
Or an escalator, like
Something's
on the
cooking
London
in the
Underground.
kitchen they could have done.
That'd been good.
Whilst the Stanner stair lift goes up and down.
But it would cut to the lovely blonde lady, and then she'd be waiting to do the link. She'd be looking over,
1970s, lovely blonde lady.
looking over her shoulder, and he'll be here in a minute. I mean, it
Yeah.
would be.
Oh, I like the idea
I
of
think
that.
he's mistaken, isn't he? I don't think he does go up and down the stairs 40
He
times.
says 50
tonight.
times. His other reason,
No, I don't.
he said, I've got to do too much. He said, I've got to introduce the judges.
Uh-huh.
I like that he thinks we'll all be able to relate to that.
No,
Yeah.
he is, he's an older gentleman now.
Yeah.
I'm a bit fretful for the show without him, I have to say.
Yeah.
He was an interesting part of the tension.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
I've had a little bit of a revelation whilst up here.
A little bit of
All right, Frank Spencer.
Yeah. Well,
I
actually...
didn't like that episode of Some Mothers Do Have Them.
I had there
bit
was a woman in the audience the other night called Betty, and I said, "Do you get a lot of?" She was, I suppose she was, I don't know, late 20s or something. And I said, "Do you get a lot of people to say ooh Betty when you?" She said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
No.
I said, "Ooh Betty," and she said, "What is that?"
That sounds like it went well.
Yeah,
2 stars that night. The Daily Star.
no stars.
So I got back to my flat, and I've been a bit lax with the domestics, the chores. I had a massive pile of
Change.
washing up, a really big pile of washing up. There's no dishwasher in the
That
flat,
thing when some of the lower stuffs have welded together because the
Exactly
mould
that.
had
Smell.
started.
and also it's a kitchen that's got a basin. It's got one of those plastic, the bowl inside the sink,
Yeah.
and so sometimes I've just been turning the tap on and then leaving it, and then forgetting and thinking, I can't be bothered washing up after all. So it's got like dirty old water, and you have to tip it out and start
Oh,
again.
see, I like those because you can be sick down the side without it getting in the crockery.
So I got
I've
back
cleaned
in.
that up a bit.
The one night that I've had a few drinks this this festival,
Oh,
I
here
got
we go,
back in,
Frank.
didn't feel like going straight to sleep, and did a massive pile of dishes in the middle of the night. Drunk.
Well, as we say, we've all changed.
And,
Can I just say, I'd like to have seen the condition of those dishes the next morning.
well, to be honest, just as I was having a moment of thinking, this is great, why don't I do this all the time? I heard smash, and, and a plate fell off the... So it turns out there's a very sound reason why we don't
Yeah.
do our domestic tasks in the
Did
middle of the night.
was you just piling them up like in Tom and Jerry when they just piling them up about 50?
Pretty much exactly
Someone
what it
come
was
in
like.
with some slippers with thick
There was
legs.
no one. That
Yeah.
would have startled me. I've also noticed over the course of this festival that I've started to congratulate myself for very minor tasks that I've achieved. Last week,
I think it showed it went well.
last week I booked a hire car in order to drive home, and genuinely walked around the flat that day as if I was like the CEO of a company for having done something. I was like, yeah, I'm getting stuff done now. This is great. I've also painted myself somewhat into a corner by... My wife is 40 next week.
Oh,
And,
is she going to like you saying that?
I don't think it's a secret.
Never mind that. Am I going to like you saying that?
But she's 40 next week, and I started joking by going, I'll put that on as one of your 40 gifts. And I before I realised that what I was saying, I blurted out that I was going to get her 40 gifts, and now I can't.
You?
Are you
No.
going to get a 40 gift?
Well, now I sort of feel like I have to, because I've said that I would. And I think I'm at about 6 or 7. I was thinking, if I take her out for a meal,
Way
can
to
I?
go.
He's going to be tapping me up for lip glosses. You wait.
If I take her out for a meal, can I count the starter and the main and the pudding as 3?
Oh.
And if I get hundreds and thousands on her ice cream, does that count? If I hit more than 40, if I do that?
Does the pound shop stock 40 items?
Hey, it's not about the expenditure. It's
I know
just
it's not
about the
with you,
actual
love.
thought.
It never is with you.
No, it isn't.
What about-
I'll chuck money at the problem if that's what it takes.
Do you have any artistic ability?
What?
Do you have any artistic
The
ability?
Guardian?
The strangest speed dating event ever.
No, but you could,
No, I do not.
you could paint small, miniatures. You could paint miniatures of the 40 Thieves from Alibaba.
Why do you want criminals?
Well, it's a good 40.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or you could put some very, very strong sedative in a drink and say, there you go, afterwards. You could say, there you go, 40 winks.
Very good.
Do that
that
one.
is good. Any other suggestions?
Wasn't
8,
that,
12, 15. I'm happy to hear
Yeah.
them.
Wasn't that the baby Jesus in the wilderness? Was that 40 days and
That
nights?
was 40 years. He wasn't a baby.
Oh.
You know, you couldn't
No,
have
but
a
I call
baby.
him the baby Jesus
Couldn't have
out
a
of
baby
respect.
wandering there, no food or drink.
I thought it was Home Alone.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've had a suggestion already from Ian Stewart Dootson, long-time reader, has texted saying, Alan, make a mixtape on iTunes or MP3 flash drive stick thingy, 40 love songs.
Yes.
I just think that...
I know what you're thinking. What about those 7 presents I already bought? That was a
Yeah,
waste of money.
exactly.
We'll save that.
Could probably get refunds on those, couldn't I? 40 love songs, that sounds a bit of a puke fest, though.
Well, the
after a
trouble
while,
is
doesn't
with
it?
40 love songs, there's going to be 19 really good ones, and then there'll be stuff.
There's going to be a lot
Filler.
of "Oh Baby, I Love You," isn't
There's
there?
What
Yeah, that's a lot
I
of
could do 19 of the really good love songs and then just put on 21 nosebleed techno dance tracks or something.
Well, you could do, because you'll never get that far.
yeah.
It's like A Brief History of Time. It's blank from page 50 onwards. I know I saw one in a skip once, blowing. Yeah, well, it's a nice idea, though. I like the whole thing.
Last year I aced her birthday because we were away on holiday and we were with friends. And
You
it was-
aced it.
I aced it. I'd knocked it out the park, mate,
it's
in the
very
Murray,
it
that'll
is.
be-
in the parlance of the children and the tabloids, read Judy Murray.
Yes.
And so I had to get her something that didn't require big luggage because we were on holiday, but I also had to get her something that was cool enough for her to tell people that night that I'd got her a birthday present and that it was cool. And I got her membership for a year of a cheese club where they deliver delicious cheeses every, whatever it was, 6 or 8 weeks. They sent 5 different...
That is so lovely. Can I say I'd cry if John bought me that?
Yeah,
I think that's a nice
it's lovely.
gift. She likes cheese, and it had tasting notes and
Are
little
they
bits
sort of are they triangular, these 5, 6 cheeses? And they're
some of them, yeah,
and they're in
yeah.
a circular cardboard box.
yeah, and they have some really hard questions to go with them as well.
Okay.
Strange.
Yeah, well, it's. I think it's a nice. It's a nice move.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. We're in Edinburgh. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We've just had another text in, actually, from Liz from Womborne. Is that how you would say that? Womborne?
I don't remember. Remember how to spell Womborne.
Oh, very good.
No, it wasn't that good. I'm not pleased with it. 3 stars.
You do a joke like that every minute, don't you? A Womborne every minute.
What about when I met Mike Batt?
Hey?
What about when I met Mike Batt? You were
How's
talking about the
Mike
one
Batt?
was.
I've
All right.
met Mike Batt.
Well, have you met Mike Batt?
I haven't met Mike Batt.
Me and my sister thought it was Elton John. It was really embarrassing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Liz from Womborne suggests, I was asking for 40 presents that I can get my wife for
What
her
happened- what
40th birthday.
What happened to Renata, John?
Renata John?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's that?
The wife. Remember he got married? Elton John.
Is
Oh,
that
yeah,
today's
he did.
texting? 8, 12, 15. What happened to
What
Renata?
happened to Renata John?
Hi,
Yes, he
just a
did.
suggestion.
I think she got looked after, didn't
Oh, yeah,
she?
probably.
Let's be honest.
My first personal assistant had been Renata John's personal assistant.
But she
Tell
had
me a
some
long
tails.
story how she had to get a life-size dinosaur back to Ringo Starr.
That's a good story. That's a good showbiz anecdote. Hi, just a suggestion.
You can put it in the garden if you like. I can't bring it. I can't. It won't get through that door.
Peace and love, peace and love.
Read the 40 presents.
Yes.
He could theme it, i.e. 40 things beginning with her initial or 40 things in her favourite colour. Yeah, I would need to know that.
You don't know a favourite colour?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Give me
Oh,
a
this
minute.
is better.
Keep
You
going again.
waiting to hear you try and remember the favourite colour. It's worse than Frank trying to think of the crossword clue.
You don't want to get the colour wrong, though, do you? That would be... I've done them on your favourite colour. Oh, that's not my favourite colour.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that incident?
When you get to our time of life, it tends to be black.
So
How
this is
about a
on the old clothes
UB40 album? Job done. That's a good idea, isn't it? UB40.
That is-
perfect greatest hits. They'll have a greatest hits.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
get that.
And
UB40, I'm going to do that.
It's Pennywise as well, which
Yeah.
I know you'll appreciate.
I'll get it from Fop in
Fop,
Edinburgh.
yeah,
cheap,
Fop, you'll get it for £3.
cheap and cheerful, innit?
That's
Brilliant.
sorted.
That's done, innit?
Let's move on.
Okay, great.
What
yeah,
next?
We will move on. Can I just...
Oh, I'll tell you what, I've got some... Oh,
Come
go
on. Well, I'm just reeling a bit. Reeling a bit, Alan.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
We're doing this again.
Alan's doing a late night show. Why don't you do that sound bed while I tell this story quickly?
Okay.
Alan...
We can't broadcast the secret
No,
password.
I won't broadcast it. I'm just saying, Alan invited me. I say invited me. He mentioned he was doing a late night gig. I said I might be attending with my boyfriend, who's on an award-winning HBO drama. And apparently we have to queue. So let's just leave that there. It's very popular.
Yeah.
It's extremely popular. It's after.
Would you go, Frank, in that scenario?
After TV's Frank Skinner? It's one of the hottest tickets in town. I would
If
say.
I had to queue? Well, I had a ticket for the screening of Deep Breath on Thursday. I know what you're thinking, but
Careful.
it's actually the first episode of Doctor Who that's on tonight. It's on in Edinburgh.
Oh.
And I set off, and in a tremendous storm, I had to shelter in a pet shop. It was there's tremendous storm, hail and all sorts came down, as it only can in Edinburgh. And I thought, I'll have to get a cab, so I waited and waited, and then I couldn't get a cab, and I thought, oh my god, I'm going to miss the new opening. I ran, I would say, probably 1.75 miles in
Wow.
but in the
absolutely high heels.
pouring rain, and I got to the cinema, and I was fully prepared to queue, but it was so, everyone had gone in, it was so wet, and I just got in there. I took my jacket off, and my shirt sleeves were stuck to my arms. I was absolutely, my socks, when I got home 2.5 hours later, I literally rang them
Rang them
out with
into
the W?
into the sink, with the W.
But you would have queued for that.
I would have happily queued, and I mean, you could say that running there in the rain is an even bigger. I think if you want to see something, you just do it.
All right, you better be good.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's a fun thing.
It's worth it for the opening title.
Was it? Deep
Was
breaths.
God, they're amazing.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
No. I used to go in an Irish pub where the gaffer always used to look at you and go, no, when you went in. I'm sure I've said that before, but who cares? It's short.
Is it only the long stuff you worry about
I don't want to
repeating?
be saying all that again. That rubbish. I did some filming this week.
What?
Oh, what was that for?
I sneaked a bit of filming in. I did an advert for the BBC. Something you don't say every day.
No.
And so we were filming in a house in Morningside, which is a part of...
Oh, it wasn't one of your
Edinburgh.
Christmas jumper ones.
No, a bit early for that. Oh, I don't know, actually, I probably just wasn't asked. And they... on the way there, so a car came and picked me up, and we got hit by
We're paying for that, everyone.
Yeah, we got hit by a bus.
No.
And... and it was on one of the main roads, South Bridge here, so it sort of stopped all the traffic and everything.
How
and the drivers
humiliating.
got out and shouted at each other. It was tinted windows. I was happy.
Yeah.
It's like watching a film. and it was, I'd say within 30 seconds of it happening, less than that. We were hit by a bus. Remember, within 30 seconds, I remember thinking to myself, I hope this takes a little bit of time here because I love the idea of them phoning to see where I am. And I get to say, "Oh, sorry, I've been hit by a bus."
Yes.
Just for that moment when I find out how much they really care whether I'm dead or alive.
Yeah.
And I got to do exactly that. Someone phoned up and said, "That film crew are a bit worried. You're not there on, your 10 minutes." I said, "Yeah, sorry, we've been hit by a bus," and it was the joy of it.
Yeah, I bet you were glad you had clean underwear on.
Well, I didn't have clean underwear on after we'd been hit by a bus. But if there's anyone...
He goes commando in Edinburgh anyway.
If any... what, in this temperature? My point in a nutshell. So,
oh, God!
I would... If there's anyone...
Despicable.
Not quite commando, if you're wearing a nutshell.
Any of our listeners have had a really good excuse... I don't mean like a made-up excuse, but an excuse you can't wait to use.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to hear it, because it's a joy. Also, on this trip... I've been reading Sherlock Holmes.
Oh,
I sort of gave up books for magazines recently. Unfortunately, you can't get the Strand anymore, so I've had to read them in the book form. But and the reason I'm doing that is because where I'm living is right next to where Arthur Conan Doyle was born.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a statue of Sherlock Holmes.
Great.
And a very fine one, and a pub called the Conan Doyle. So I thought, as I'm here, I should read.
Yes.
I should read them. This is
Some Sherlock Holmes.
It's the joy of Kindle, of course. I think I'm enjoying them more because I feel I'm in his manner.
Yeah.
Which ones have you gone for?
I'm just working my way through. I've read a couple of the biggies. The Study in Scarlet and all that.
Speckled Band.
Baskervilles.
So I
Adventure
started
of the Cardboard Box. Not so keen on that one.
So I've gone sort of Bohemia, Red-Headed, and so on. But I'd also like to know if any of our listeners have ever done that, if we've ever read anything because they're in the vicinity of the...
Yeah.
You've done it.
I have,
I'm sensing you've done it. We'll have to come back to
I've
this.
done it.
Oh, you've done it as well?
We've all done
Let's
it.
come back. Let's come back
Great.
to it.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Frank, you were talking about your... you were talking about a number of things, but you were talking about your bus incident.
Yes.
And someone called the Man with No Name has tweeted us to say, at school the doors on the bus broke, so we were taken to the garage to have them crowbarred open. Very exciting, aged 14. That must have been.
What
Can
a
you imagine?
brilliant excuse for not being at school.
It's like a snow day.
Oh, it's just like, there's no comeback to that. You've got alibi, you've got group alibi. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. You can see, that's what I mean. You can relax in an excuse like that, like just leaning back in a hot bath.
Yeah. I remember the maths teacher said to me once, "Why do you smell of cigarettes?" And I said, "Because my mother smokes in the car."
Brilliant.
I was lying, of course.
Yes.
But it was believable.
That's very fine.
Very
I had to say that my dad drinks in the car. Didn't go so well. But,
Did they mind back then?
No, not in those days.
Sam O'Dave has tweeted us, "I read the excellent Driving Over Lemons trilogy whilst near," now you might have to forgive some of my pronunciation, "Orgiva in the Alperduras region of Andalusia."
That's one of our finest ever.
That is very good.
I've never heard of the Driving Over Lemons trilogy. Did it?
No, me neither.
Did it? But not while driving.
Well, let's hope not.
No, I think he probably means that
that's a bit right, Jobby Brown. No, he got done this week for driving.
Whilst reading.
Did he really? Yeah, exactly.
Did he?
Yeah.
I read 3 Rebus novels by Ian Rankin last time I was at the Edinburgh Festival.
Oh, did you?
See?
Well, and they're
smashing.
perfect. They're perfect for the Edinburgh Festival because you're seeing those streets and
that's what you want.
they're pacey thrillers that keep you escaping from the Edinburgh Festival.
Well, the great thing about the Sherlock Holmes things is they're written by a man who's, as I say, born literally down the road from my Edinburgh flat.
Yeah.
But they're about London, so they're also quite interesting.
Yes.
I read Greyfriars Bobby.
Did you?
You did.
Yeah, when I was a lot younger, I did a project on it because I got so obsessed by it when I came here.
Well, do you believe it?
Do I believe in it's real? Oh, why don't you believe it, Frank?
I think we did a thing on the show once about how it had been exposed.
Has it?
Yeah,
Oh, don't say that to me.
It's a local...
Chris Davis read Midnight's Children in India, bought from a second-hand bookshop, started in Delhi, but lost it in Kerala.
Yeah, it's...
We've all lost it in Kerala,
Well,
Frank.
yeah, exactly. But the thing about that, see, if you go back to that book, you'll always have started it in India, so it'll always have that special frisson.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You said that you got hit by a bus on your way to make a BBC advert.
You did.
513 has texted in saying, sorry to correct you, Frank, but the BBC don't make adverts, they make trailers for their programmes.
Oh, don't put Daddy down.
Hold on. I've got a diary on my a dictionary on my smartphone.
Okay.
Advertisement, a public promotion of some product or service. So I was promoting a BBC website.
Service.
So that was an advert. Good night.
Not the best show you've ever done, if I'm honest.
We should play some.
I'm not sure that would even make 4 stars.
I can't you can't argue with the dictionary.
No, that's one of the rules, isn't it, on this show?
Yeah, I
I
think
love it when
it's
Frank goes a bit Giles Brandreth.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair rule. Shall we, something we haven't done yet today, shall we get to the corner?
Oh, we could.
Yeah.
Fancy it?
Yeah, why not?
Email corner. I think we've landed.
Has that got more disturbing, the way you shout corner?
I'm running out of ideas, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
We need a new jingle. As much as I've loved that one over the years.
You think?
Yeah, it was sent in by
It was.
a reader, if you remember.
It was.
Yeah, maybe someone can send something
I
else
remember
in.
it well.
Yeah, well, we should. I love that.
Yeah, I do.
I was telling you earlier, not on the show, but that the new Doctor Who titles were done by a fan on YouTube.
Nice and cheap.
Stephen Moffat, the showrunner.
Saving the money.
No, I think they have remade them, but
Okay.
they took his idea. I mean, they haven't stolen them. They contacted him, and they've. I mean, how brilliant to knock
Yeah,
them up
that's
on
great.
YouTube, and then
Yeah.
suddenly they're on the show. And I've seen them, and I don't think this is a spoiler. They look fantastic.
No, that's not much of a spoiler.
Watch it tonight. Watch it tonight.
Anyway,
I'm going to.
we can't sit around talking about Doctor Who all day.
No,
Who knows
Well, I
where
have
it will
done.
end. One of us will end up being in it.
that's a bit far-fetched.
This email is from number 699, brackets the artist.
Oh, yeah.
699.
Let's see how we get on with him.
Okay.
I'm not sure where I sit in your categories. Can you help? This is not the first time I've emailed. A bit passive-aggressive.
Okay.
And if you read this out, it will be the second reading. But it's the long-time reader bit. I'm not sure how long I need to be reading this column to become a long-time reader. I discovered this programme, very good use of programme,
Yeah.
at the beginning of last year and have regularly partaken in the weekly sessions. Mostly I catch up with the podcast due to working when you're live. Meantime, I've also been listening to all previous podcasts from the beginning. Gareth has just left the show in my time-travelling catch-up.
Oh, okay.
Thus, I'm still about 2 years behind with this. So, of course, does this make me a long-time reader? I do hope so. Also, is Daisy always so happy? She really sounds
No.
like she just turns up for a laugh. To think she gets paid for it too. Kind regards, 699, the artist.
I'd have thought someone who'd just listened to our early back catalogue would remember Croissant Gate.
Oh,
When
yeah.
someone from another
Yes.
show touched our croissant, and it was like having a devil dog.
What can I say I like that about Daisy? One always feels safe with her.
The Iron Fist and the Velvet Glove.
No
I've
one's-
said it a million times.
No one touches the talent when Daisy's around.
Do you think it's a compliment as well, don't you? That's a nice
I
thing
do.
about you.
I
Yeah.
do think that.
That you're complimenting her.
Yeah, well, a lot of people
She's
don't
an
bother.
iron fist in a velvet glove.
A lot of people don't bother with the Velvet Glove. They just have the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But Daisy's very, very charming, but she's firm when she needs to be. That's what I love
I
about
call
her.
it, she's like a hot bouncer.
Yeah, she is like a hot bouncer. That's a good point. In case you're wondering what a hot bouncer was, I don't know if you saw that episode of Neighbours with the kiln. There was a faulty kiln which was made in the shape of a kennel. And what happened was that bounce... Well, anyway, we haven't got time to go into it now.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Daisy.
We were.
Is she happy?
Are you not done yet?
She is happy, isn't she?
I don't think she's been truly happy since Julie's Taxis closed down.
What's Julie's Taxis?
That was the company she and her sister started when they were kids.
They were named after Auntie Julie, and they were both called Julie as a consequence, and they just were a book cab.
Terrible business idea.
Hello, Julie's Taxis, Julie speaking. That's all they did all day.
Very much enjoying these bespoke
Yeah.
jokes that you're doing for her, I must say.
I think that works right across the board.
It's great.
I was in Edinburgh yesterday. I was on my way to the museum with my son and my mother-in-law of crossword fame.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And blow me if we didn't bump into Daisy in the street.
Did you?
And
was she
were
up
saying,
to?
I mean, what's the population of Edinburgh at the moment? It's about 3 million, I think.
It doubles, doesn't it?
Can I just say,
Festival
very good
time.
use of at the moment, but you're absolutely right, of course.
Yes. And I think we were both really quite excited that we'd bumped into each other. You know, when you meet someone in a big place, it's
Yeah.
whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! You feel like you're taking part in something, it's a bit like the Roswell incident.
Yeah.
And I think we both got a bit giggly and excited about it. That's
Lovely.
lovely, isn't it?
Lovely.
Oh, coincidental meet. I mean, 3 million people. What's the chances of... Oh, there'd be about...
How did it go? How did it go, the encounter?
It went pretty well. We just talked about general things. We said, I think Daisy said a couple of malicious things about comedians that are up here. I threw in 3 or 4 of my own, and then off we went.
Lovely.
As regards this email where the chap is, or if it is a chap, is saying that they've been listening to the radio show for 2 years, but they've gone back
Yes.
to the podcasts. That made me think, actually, somebody could be the longest time listener by listening to the most recent broadcast on a Saturday and then downloading the very first one. And that would be the full span of the oeuvre, would it not?
But wouldn't that be...
That was more complicated than some Stephen Hawking thing.
Yeah, also, you're
Yeah, well, I'm
slightly...
cleverer.
You don't come out of this very well, because it suggests they've listened to it with you on and thought, won awards this, it must have been good once. They've gone back to the Gareth days. I'm amazed that people could be bothered to go back and listen to old podcasts.
Sell yourself, why don't you?
It's a very marvellous tribute. Okay, and relax.
We've had a tweet in, Frank, which I would like to share with you.
By what means?
Via Twitter.
Okay.
Nerd Pony has tweeted us
I
and
like
said,
the sound of Nerd Pony.
Yeah.
well, forget your bus incident. Listen to this. I was once a witness to an armed robbery in Summerfields. We had a lock-in for 20 minutes, so I
Wow.
missed a Year 6 parents' evening.
Teacher?
Well,
Well,
I presume so.
But that's
Teacher or
brilliant. I see, locking in Summerfields.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no arguing with that.
Yeah. Do they ever drink counter?
Yeah.
No, but that is brilliant. I couldn't wait to get that excuse out. That's the kind of excuse I mean when you think this is so good nobody can challenge you.
That is good.
Love it, love it, love it. Love it like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's what you say, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, you were saying you were getting a bit bored of the old email corner jingle. Well, help is at hand.
We've had it on a long time.
We have. Help is at hand in the form of 523.
Okay.
Hi, Frank, Em and Al. Long-time reader here. I'll happily make you a new email corner jingle, but I will first need you all, or a nominated representative, to sing/shout email corner with no music underneath it so that I can sample it. Any preferences on genre? I'll have it ready for next week's show. That's from Mash in Battersea. So firstly, genre?
Well, Bangra. Now that one's back. We've got a Bangra. What do you fancy? Do you
I think
fancy a
soul.
genre?
I'd like soul.
Soul.
You
Yeah.
like glam rock, I think.
I
think
hate soul. I want sort of
soul.
1970s New York rock.
And I'd
But we can have. But you
I'd
can
like
have.
Chicago House. if,
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Sorted.
Yeah.
You
But
just
we
pick-
all need to say
I'll
email
tell you what,
corner, do
why
we?
don't
We
you
need to say
pick us-
email corner.
I think, should we just let Emily do it? It'd be nice to have a female voice
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
on the thing.
Female
You know, this
vocal
is-
works
this is-
well
this
on
is
some Chicago House. that's fine.
2014.
You said you don't like soul. Sorry about this.
So you have to be quiet underneath it. Here
Okay,
we go.
quiet. Daisy,
One,
stop
I'm going to
it.
count you in. One,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Email corner.
Okay, there's a bit of laughing on it, wasn't there? Wasn't
I'm
the
sorry, I was having flashbacks to her X Factor audition that she
No,
did
but
a
I
few
took
weeks
that very
ago.
seriously. I wasn't going to mess about.
No, I think yeah, I'm sure he can do something with that in post.
Don't laugh at me. That was a big moment for me.
Don't laugh at me, 'cause I'm a fool. Norman Wisdom used to sing that. Remember her?
Not enough Norman Wisdom references on commercial radio.
No,
I don't like that no one's
Apparently,
referring to my jingle now that
according
I've done
to-
it.
I
Like
don't-
it makes me think it was bad.
Well, it's because we're moving towards the end now. Time is up.
What about my moment?
You've had your moment, your
Okay.
perfect moment. I say perfect. Okay, so we come to the end of the show. Can I say a very happy birthday to my girlfriend, Kath, and lots of love and good luck this afternoon. And thank you so much for listening. And you know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week when, God willing, we will have returned to London. Although it's been lovely up here. You can't stay up here forever. It's too cold. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.